Hey everyone, let's unbox and take a look at the Plant Cafe and Flower Shop by LEGO Friends. This is set number 42671, contains 1,138 pieces, retails for $99.99, and the set was provided by the LEGO Group for review. Thank you, LEGO. And just by first impressions, this looks like a very fun, interesting build. And in addition, we have Nugget, Nova, Aliya, Olly, and Esma. That's kind of cool. So what I'm taking it is, that's probably a cafe, and that's probably the flower shop, you know, that kind of thing. And here's the top of the box. Not too bad at all. Let's take a look at the back here. And yeah, so we'll also get a trolley and a flower garden and all sorts of stuff. And it just looks interesting. Looks like this one's going to be fun. Let's open this up and let's go see what we have in here. There we go. Well, we obviously know what kind of bags there are in here, and found some building guides inside. Looks like these are just packed and loose. Alright. Okay, let's take a look here. So looks like bags 1 and 2 does the trolley. Not too bad. And yikes, I was hoping all these graphics on the windows would be printed. But you know what though? Those are not. Ouch, LEGO. I have a feeling those are going to be hard to put on without getting bubbles behind them. And here we got 3 through 8 to build this big thing. And I was hoping this would be more of a group build. It might still be, we don't know yet. And yeah, let's see here. Does it come with the brick separator? Yes, it does. So that answers that question there. And so it doesn't look too bad for just first impressions on parts. And it looks more like a lot of medium pieces to small. Maybe a few large ones sprinkled in there. We don't know. So yeah, not too bad. Head over to my second channel. We're going to build this set in a few installments. Come back and we'll take a tour. First, we're going to start with Nugget. And he's an interesting creature. Not much to see with him. And here we have Nova with the $5 coin. And Aliya. So it looks like they're ready to ride the trolley we're going to be taking a closer look at here. We got Olly and Esma. And honestly, these are a nice set of mini dolls if you like mini dolls. Next we have the trolley or city car, and this is essentially what it is. That's a sticker. Most of all the graphics you see on these builds are all stickers. I like the plants used in here. Also got a little step in here. And this top does remove to take a look at the interior. So we got a place in here for the conductor to sit, as well as possibly up to 4 passengers. So we're going to grab a mini doll here. I'm sure Esma's probably the train conductor. Now her wig does come off, so if it keeps doing that, you're going to have to go in the train scalped. Well, car, I got to be careful. Somebody might correct me on that. So she just sits right down in there. The chain might be in the way. See, her wig just comes off. You know, we'll just drop that back down, and as you can see, though, except for the wig, yeah, she does fit in there pretty easily. The chain, I guess, is to keep the passengers from walking in there. And there's plenty of headroom in there, too, so she can actually... Let's get another mini doll. Olly wants a turn now. He can stand right on the studs. And then you can put the top on. It just sits right on place. It doesn't really snap in there. Now, if for those who are not believers, this does work with a regular train track, believe it or not. So I just got this. This doesn't come with the set, but indeed, it does fit on there. Not a whole lot of clearance on the bottom, so probably a few modifications, but it is possible that this would work for train tracks. It's a nice, good idea. And honestly, I have a feeling this is going to be one of those vehicles that few of us are going to probably clone for our cities. Just change the color up a bit. You pretty much got a trolley that you could have running through your city. Finally, we have the cafe and flower shop, I'm presuming. And this is essentially what it is. So right here we got ourselves a little outdoor eating area. This is really cool. I like the use of these chains. And don't worry, we're going to take a close-up look at everything in a bit. Here we got the front entry doors. And I like this greenery on top of here. A lot of the features that are used in this look like something you'd see in a modular, which is really cool. And it looks like we got ourselves some kind of a takeout window here. So this is also a takeout restaurant too. And in addition, we have the little flower shop. And these little flowers here can come out of this little container. Let's see if I can get one out here for you. Well, they're kind of bunched in there. Well, here. Dropping the merchandise. You know, so this is what they are. And the minifigures can hold on to these orb mini dolls. Well, both of them can. Put that back in there. And you got some more greenery that continues onto this side here. Now the interior of this is fully playable. You can play in here. And maybe for adult hands this might be a little too tight. But in this area there's a lot of room here. Now look at all the tiling that's used throughout the bottom of this. This was built with care. This was built with a lot of care. You got a little grill here. This must be the kitchen. You got the little cashier's counter and a little place to eat in here. Just look at all the greenery. This thing is just packed full of colors. Now this obviously is scaled for mini dolls, so of course you can put Nugget in here. That's probably Nugget's bed, but why would they have him in the kitchen? I don't know, but usually animals are cleaner than humans. That's probably where he sits that. And of course you can put your mini dolls in here. And I don't know who's the chef. Well, Esma, we can have her cook since her wig's fallen off. Maybe she's going to make that hair surprise special. There is studs inside here that you can place your mini dolls down on. This area here, as you can tell, I'm having a hard time. I'm sure little hands can easily reach in there. But for adults, it could be a bit tight. I managed to get her in there. And then we got a place to sit. Now a lot of this stuff in here, as you can see, is all graphics. So it's all stickered. And then of course you got Olly here. See, like in here, for example, I would have a hard time putting him in here. I would have to put him in here and slide him in. And yeah, it's doable for adults, but for children this should be perfect. And you just got like a watering can and stuff. I mean, look at all the accessories. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Well, this is not going to serve justice. Let's take a closer look. Here we have the front entry into the cafe, and I do like the style of handles. Unfortunately, these doors came in rather scuffed, so it's kind of a bummer there. But I do like the use of the greenery in here. Look at all that. And all the pink leaves. Here's that outdoor eating area. I like the idea for that, especially with the chains. Now that's all stickered, unfortunately. I wish it was all printed graphics. Even those windows, I hope those are printed. Those would make good mock pieces, but sadly they're not. And here we have the flower shop, and this does detach if you want. There's a close-up of those flowers that remove. They just rest inside this little holder, so you can take them out and have your mini dolls grab onto them. Here's some shelving on this side here. Various plants. Here's the inside, where Olly's hanging out at. I do like the roof on that. That's pretty cool. And then we have ourselves an airy kitchen. Got a watering can here and a pair of shears just sitting in there. That's kind of hard to grab those. But here's the close-up of the grill. Looks like we got ourselves a little blender and teacup and such. And yeah, it's scaled for mini dolls, obviously, but look at all the tile work in here. It's a pretty intricate design just for being a friend set, but friend sets have been known to be really caked with features. Here we got Aliya here just waiting for her order. Got a little teapot in the background. I like this little thing here where this large bush is growing in here. And one of these was sadly scuffed, and I was just, let's keep that for the review. I do like the use of these window panels that they use here to give this a two-toned effect. And the skylights here are really cool. Look at that. That's a lot of engineering in there, how those went together. If you watch the build installments, those were pretty fun. I was really hoping these would be printed, but they're stickers. What does that look like on the inside? Let's see if I can get a better view of it here. Pretty much that's what it is. See if I can get a better angle for you. Even I'm having a hard time looking around in here. But look at all this stuff you can play with and stuff. There's a lot of things to do with this set. This is not just a shelf queen here. This is meant to be played with. And it's just full of detail. Look at all that. I wish Lego City sets were like this, but, you know, that's why we have friends. But you want to know my thoughts? Here they are. Let's begin with build quality for the review, and honestly this set is average to above average. I didn't really experience anything flaking off, but the stickers were the main drag on this set, in addition to some of the transparent pieces being scuffed and pitted. But these larger stickers on the skylights and these windows were a bit rather difficult to put on. So any of the larger stuff was just much of a challenge. And two, the stickers are transparent, so you better have good vision to put these on. Even I was struggling with them. So the stickers were okay, but not really friendly for me anyways. Now my build experience was something else. Honestly, this was a set I enjoyed putting together. And there's lots of bright colors used, lots of accessories to build, in addition to some new building techniques. So if you're looking for something that looks almost like a modular or has some modular features, this one's it. This one's got a lot of detail for such a very small build. Look at all the cluttering. There's plenty of things. You've got plenty of accessories to go with this set, in addition to the 4 mini dolls and Nugget. Look at all the flowers. There's just so much to do here, so much to see, which leads to play value. And as you saw, there's plenty of room in the interior for access, accessories, stuff all around. So this is a really good set for play. Now, as for city drop-in value, you'd have to finish up the back of this, place this in a city. But that trolley fits on a regular train track, so just imagine you use it as a city car. This would be great to use just as a car for any Lego City or even a Friends theme. Just change the colors to your liking and you got yourself a whole new build. In addition, there's a lot of unique pieces that you can use to enhance other creations, or you can make an alternative model out of this and come up with your own designs. There's enough pieces here probably to come up with another flower shop, cafe, or even a house. Just a lot of things to derive out of this set. Look at all the detail that you can use to transplant into other builds. Now sadly my score on this set is going to be a 6 out of 10. Why such a horrible score for a nice set? Scratched pieces. A lot of this glass stuff arrived in scratch, and the big stickers. That's probably the only two major things, maybe just a little bit off for build quality. But other than that, the building guide is easy to follow, and in addition, it is possible up to 3 people can build the set. Unfortunately, this is the biggest piece. So you can have one person build these 2 items, and another person can build this. So this one here is covered in building guides 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, I believe, and this one's 8. So it's possible, but I was hoping this one would be more modular, like if this piece were to plug in here, but I can probably see why they did not do that. But all around though, it is a nice set. I was just kind of disappointed with these stickers and the scuffed pieces. But I want to know your thoughts on this set.